The 20th of November, Rabbi First, Gemora.
You're in.
Great.
Okay.
Okay. And we are ready for Bava Metzia.
11A3?
I have 11B2.
Let's see.
B2?
Mm-hmm.
Yosef? Yeah, the plumber says he can come tomorrow, maybe. Tomorrow morning. He didn't say what time. Did I tell him okay?
Pardon me? What?
Okay. I'll tell him tomorrow morning is okay.
Okay, so let's take an let's start from Amalei Rav Shimi, the Rav Papa. Amalei Rav Shimi, the Rav Papa. Towards the bottom of 11A, 11B. First word in the line is makne. Amalei Rav Shimi, the Rav Papa. Oh, Phil's not here yet. That's unusual.
Sorry,
Okay.
I was talking, but I was muted. It's 11B2, right-hand column, second paragraph. The Gemora objects.
The Gemora objects.
Okay.
Okay.
Amalei Rav Shimi Rav Papa.
Yes.
Okay.
Got it.
All right. Okay. Amalei Rabbi Shimi Rav Papa. In the case of a bill of divorce, us more or where another mind, example, a husband transfers ownership of it to his wife, the woman should not have to stand at a property side to acquire it. Womar, a law of who shem des but side besor but Sarah so yet Ula ruled that a woman can be divorced by placing the bill of divorce in her house or courtyard, provided that she is standing at the side of her house or at the side of her courtyard. Gemara answers, Shano got the soy Baal Koran. Bill of divorce is different because it's effective even against her will.
Okay. Let's take a look at the Rashis over here. Let's see, Rashi. So we don't have a Rashi on the Amalei Rav Shimi Rav Papa. What is Rav Shimi saying to Rav Papa? Because the step before we were doing yesterday, Rav Abba Bar Kahana, he was Makabel from Rav Yirmiyah that he had a proof that if you have a case of das acheres makna, meaning you have someone who's giving something, Jew number one is giving something to Jew number two, and he puts it in the chutzner of Jew number two. You don't need that Jew number two is standing there in the chutzner in order for Jew number two to make an acquisition of the item that was put in his chutzner, because the das acheres is strong to create the kinyan even without being omed b'tzad ha-soda. And so therefore, he accepted that. Now, what Rav Shimi is doing is saying he's challenging this. He's challenging this because in the case of a get, here we have a case of a get, hare get. A man gives a get to his wife, and it's a case, and it needs that the wife needs to make a kinyan in the get in order for the get to be an effective giving. So you have the man is giving, so you have a case of das acheres makna. It's not just a case of a get just falling into her chutzner. It's being given by the man or his representative. And so even though you have das acheres makna, we see that Ula says in the case of a get, you still need that the woman is omedis b'tzad beisa or b'tzad chatzero. She, in order to acquire that get, still needs to be there. So you see, says Rav Shimi, that das acheres makna is not effective in this case to make it a better case than a case of ordinary hefker, which does need that the one that's making the acquisition in the hefker item, he be standing by the side of his chutzner in order to make a kinyan in the item. Here, even though you have das acheres makna, you still need that the wife is standing there. So on that, the Gemora answered, shiny get. The get is different than the ordinary case. Why? The isabal korcha, because a get is going to be an effective transfer, even if the wife does not want to receive the get. Okay, so now let's see what Rashi has to say. We got some Rashis. Amar Ula. This is the second wide line in Rashi, all the way at the end of the line. Well, Amar Ula.
Amar Ula. B'meseches Gittin Gabe Hazorak get le ishto b'toch besa o b'toch chatzra. So Ula says in Maseches Gittin concerning What is Hazurak?
Azorek, he's throwing. He's throwing the get into the property.
Concerning throwing the get to his wife within her house or within her courtyard. So I don't really get what Rashi's telling us.
Right. So Rashi's
He's just giving us a source for Ula.
what is Rashi doing? The Maseches Gittin. In other words, Rashi's telling us where it is that Ula says this. The Gemora told us that Ula says that you need that the woman is omedis b'tzad beisa or b'tzad chatzero. You still need that, even though it's a case of dasakeres makna. Rashi is not commenting on that or explaining it, but he's just giving us the source. Where is it that Ula says this?
Right. Okay. Shani get ha de Isa al kurcha. It's different with a get because it can be against her will. Shahu nos nu la velo nicha la the migrashta. That he gives it to her, and he doesn't. What's nicha?
Below nicha law, it's not nicha for her. Nicha means it's not good for her. She doesn't want it.
Ah. The Magarsa. What's Magarsa?
To get divorced.
Okay. So because it's not good and she doesn't want it, therefore the rules are different.
Right. There's not the same there's not the same level of acceptance of the recipient as in an ordinary case of a matana. Matana, usually the person on the receiving end is very happy to take the matana. It's nichale. It's very good for him, and he's willing. He wants to take it. So there in that case, if you already have that the recipient is willing to take it, he wants to take it, and you have the das acheres makna that the giver wants to give it, so then you already have enough koach that the recipient doesn't need to be standing in the chutzner when the giver throws it into the chutzner or places it into the chutzner. Remember, the whole thing over here is that it's not being given into the hands of the Isha. That's perhaps what Rashi wanted when he quoted the Gemora over there. He's not simply telling us, I'll tell you where the Gemora is. He's pointing out that what the Gemora is talking about is talking about a case of Gabe Hazorek get, that he's throwing the get into the house or into the chotzer of the Isha. And so like that, it doesn't go into her hand. And so yeah, you have to rely on kinyan chotzer. And like that, since she doesn't want it, she doesn't want it. So we need more koach on the side of we need more koach in order that that the get should be effective. So we need her to be standing there by the chutzner when the husband throws the get into the chutzner, even though he wants to give the get, but she doesn't want really to be divorced. She doesn't really want to receive it. So here we say that she's got to be standing there in order for the get to be effective. And as such, it's not a refutation of the proof that we deduced from the previous case of the we had a previous case of a giver and a recipient of an item of like an animal or young chicks. Over there, we said that we could dispense with the with that requirement as long as there's das acheres makna. But here we say we cannot. It's not good enough. Okay. Okay, so now we have a continuation of the discussion over here. Maskif law, Rav Sheshis, Rei Rav Yidi. And I see Phil has entered the meeting, but he's still undisposed or indisposed, or however it is you say that. Oh,
forgot to turn it on.
There he is. Okay, Phil is here.
I'm here. I forgot to start the voice in the picture.
Okay. Very good. So now, let's see. Should we go back to, because I see we got some, we have some Rashis here on this next section, so Phil can be doing that. So we go back to Alan. Just continue the reading. Maskif law, Rav Sheshis.
I think I lost the place.
It's on 11B2
Right.
column. And it's 1, 2, 3, 4. It's the fourth paragraph. The Gemara refutes this answer.
Okay, got it. Gemara refutes this answer. Hikiv law Rav Sheshes Baris Rav Ida refuted that answer with the following argument. Lay Kol Homer who is it not a kal makoma ma gate to say your bow now, if in regard to a bill of divorce which is effective against her will, omedes b'tzad be'sor u'b'tzar ha'seirah ain. If she is standing at the side of her house or at the side of her courtyard, yes, she becomes divorced. Low. But if not, she does not become divorced. Matona, the need te, then in regard to a gift which is acquired only with the recipient's consent, low call chicane. Is it not certain that the recipient must stand at the side of his courtyard in order for it to acquire on his behalf?
Oh, okay. So you got to put your thinking cap on over here to understand what Rav Sheshis is saying. Rav Sheshis is making a kal v'chomer argument. What's the basis of the argument? He says, let's compare these two cases of get and matana. Which one would you say needs to be reinforced by the recipient standing there by the chotzer when the giver of the get or of the matana puts it in there? We know, he says, that the din is by get, that the transfer of the get, the effectiveness of the get, is not dependent upon whether the isha wants to receive it or not. It happens if it goes, it happens even against her will. If it's put into her hand, if it's put into her chotzer, it works. Even if she doesn't want to get, she doesn't want to get. But even though that's so, Ula maintains that still, if it's not put into her hand, right into her hand, and it's only put into her chotzer, she's got to be there by the chotzer in order for that get that she doesn't want to be effective. Now, if that's so of a get, which has the strength that it's so strong, the giving is so strong, it even goes against her will that it's going to be effective, but even still, it needs that she's standing there. Isn't it a kal v'chomer that in a case of a matana that if a person doesn't, if the recipient doesn't want the matana, the giver he can give it, he can want to give it to him from here until Mashiach comes, but it won't work because the recipient says, "Sorry, I'm not interested. I don't want this. I don't want this gift that you want to give me." So in that case, we see that there's a possibility that the giving will not work because the guy can hold it back. So so he says in that case, all the more so, even though the giver is a das acheres makna, you'll need to have that the recipient, and we need his acceptance of it, that he wants to receive it. You'll need all the more so that he needs to be there by the chotzer in order for the giving to be effective.
I thought the presumption was that the recipient wanted the gift.
By a get? No, we're saying
No, not by a get, a gift.
Right. It's like this. It's like this. By a matana, you need the recipient's agreement to acquire the matana. But when it comes to a get, you don't need that the wife be happy and willing to accept this get, even if she doesn't want the get. But if it's given into her hands, it's a get. But that's not true in the case of matana. If a person doesn't want to receive the matana, you can put it into his hands and it won't be good.
But don't we have a principle that if you do something that benefits a person, you can do it without his knowledge? Like, for example, if you want to deposit money into my bank account without my knowledge, you're allowed to do it because it's beneficial to me?
So if so, then you're asking, how could it be that there could be such a thing that we need the das of the recipient to be in agreement with the matana?
That's right. That's what I'm asking. I remember we had a situation on Ozone where we had a non-Jewish family move into one of the houses. And because we had a Erev on the street, we needed to rent their property. We needed to give them $1 so that we would be, quote, renting their property, and therefore the Erev would work. We tried to give it to him. He wouldn't take it. He said, no, it's okay. It's okay. You can use my property. He didn't really understand. He wouldn't take the money. So we talked to the rabbi, and the rabbi said, put it in an envelope, put it in his mailbox. You're allowed to give it to him without his consent.
Yeah, okay. Over there, so you're asking from that case to the case of a regular matana.
Right.
Let's see. Well, one second. The way the Erev works, what you are giving this person $1?
Right. We were renting.
Why?
We were renting his property because he was not Jewish. So we wanted to make his property part of the common area by renting it from him.
So why is that a benefit to him? Maybe he doesn't want to rent his property.
It was giving him the $1 that was the benefit.
No, but that was the payment for the fact that his property would be rented. He doesn't want that.
But he said it was okay. He just didn't want to take the $1.
But intrinsically, we can understand that if you walk up to somebody and you say, listen, let me rent your property. I need it because of an Erev. So your property will be rented to me, okay? So the guy will think about it and he says, well, I don't want somebody to have my property rented. Why should I want that? It's not, in other words, it's not an intrinsic, it's not a matana that you're giving him. He may not, it's not really it's not a comparable case. I'm saying it's not a matana. It's not a matana that doesn't need his acquiescence.
Well, what about the case of depositing money into somebody's bank account without his knowledge? I was told that was a basic principle, that you could do that because you're benefiting him.
Yeah, but that's okay. But that doesn't explain the case with the Erev, though. That's not a correct comparison.
All right. Well, forget about the case with the Erev, because I just brought that as an example. But
okay,
if that doesn't work, then forget about it. Let's take the case of the bank account. What I'm trying to do is I'm trying to bring a raya that you're giving somebody something that's beneficial to him, that he doesn't have to consent.
Yeah, but he does have to consent for the using the Erev. That may be the rules of an Erev chutzar.
Forget about
everybody.
I'm not talking about the Erev, Phil. Forget about the Erev.
Yeah.
I'm talking about the bank account. If I want to deposit money into your bank account, my understanding is I can do it even if you don't know about it. Because I bet.
I'm not sure that's the kind of benefit that you can deal with, doing something that'll benefit him without his knowledge. I'm not sure that's that case would work either. I mean, it's one thing, where you let somebody use your towel, so it's filling that's in shul that you left on the table. It's another thing, where this is sort of like a kinyan, a matana. I'm not sure you can just give a matana. He may want to. He may not.
Yeah, we'd have to. Yeah, what we'd have to do is really research exactly what is the case. Where does it say this? What you're saying? Because here it definitely is saying that's the basis of what the Gemora is saying over here. Since this case is not a case of a get, it's a case of a matana. So that's the difference between the get and the matana. The get can be given even when the recipient, the wife, does not want it. However, a matana depends. In the case of a matana, a person can refuse it. I don't want the matana. They don't want it. So you're equating. Well, you know what? Maybe we could say like this, Lou. A matana just means to say I'm giving you something, and you don't have to pay for it, right? But does that mean that it's a absolute benefit that benefits me? Maybe it's something that I don't want around my house, right? Even if I don't have to pay for it, I don't want it. It's not intrinsically a benefit.
I see. Okay.
So maybe you're. I mean, I do sort of remember somewhere this principle that you're saying. I can't recall exactly where it is and what the case is all about, right? But you're right that there is something like that. But over here, I'm saying even if there is something like that, it's an absolute benefit. Maybe there is a kinyan even without his knowledge. But over here, this is not the fact that it's a matana is not necessarily that doesn't prove that it's an absolute benefit. Just means that he's been given it, and he's not paying for it. That's how I would understand it. And so therefore, the Gemora is saying we need to have his assent over here. And since we need to have his assent, there has to be an agreement. If he doesn't want it, it won't be effective. So therefore, the argument is that all the more so in such a case like that we need him to be involved. Then we need the recipient to be involved. We need his das to say, I want to receive this matana. So in that case, it would seem to be a kal v'chomer that we would therefore also need him to be standing in the chatzer to fortify the kinyan, and therefore. And that's even where we have a case of matana, which is by definition a case of das acheres makna. So that's the challenge that Rav Sheshes is making over here to who? To Rav Papa, I guess. Yeah, to Rav Papa, because he's the one that wanted to say that if you got das acheres makna, you don't need this other requirement that the recipient is standing by the field. You don't need that he's able to run and grab the item before it runs away off of his field. You don't need that because you have das acheres makna. Says Rav Sheshes, I'll show you. I'll tell you a kal v'chomer. It's all the more so that you should need it if you compare it to the case of get. Let's take a look. Is there a Rashi here? Which was the last Rashi we did? Did we do shiny get to Isay Bal Korche? Yes, we did that one.
Yeah, that's the last one we did.
Oh, so now we do Valav Kal V'chomer Hu. This is the challenge of Rav Sheshes.
Okay. Valav Kal, and it's not a Kal V'chomer Hu. Okay. Mean.
No, is it not a kal v'chomer?
The low,
Right.
It's not a kal v'chomer, right? Mean hatam, from the reason who yesh ladun, to discuss, to talk about it, or to rule. All the more so, l'kinyan, for a kinyan, he says it. The kinyan acher, for a different kinyan.
Right.
Should we continue with the Maget, just like a get is?
Yeah, let's continue with that.
Maget, just like a get, Dechi Ika, because there is Bitzad Sarah, that he is at the side of his Chatzer, below Nicha, below, and it's not good for him, to make a kinyan. Afilu hacha, even here, kinaya is his kinyan low. Let me get the right line here. Low chatzera is not his courtyard. Amrin, we say the ika, if so, ain, yes, elo, low, in. No, that was in. If so, yes. If not, not.
Right. So I have a correction on this Rashi, actually. The first part of the Rashi that says the ki isa b'tzad chatzero, that when she is standing by the side of her chotzer, instead of those words, strike those words and write in instead the isei bal korcha. In other words, the comparison is that we're saying that this is what we find by a get, that it works even against her will, and it's not nichel to her to make a kinyan in this get, and afilu hachi, and all that notwithstanding, kanyala, she will acquire it. If it's put in her chotzer with a kinyan chotzer, she'll acquire it. I'm reading. We say, however, in that case, that we need to have her be there, and if she's not there, there will be no effective get. There won't be no kinyan of the get. So that's what we say when it comes to a get. So now, what do we say by matana? We're continuing with the line of argument. So let's, we got another Rashi over here. Lou, you want to read the next Rashi? Dibra maskil matana.
Okay. Let's see.
It's like 5 lines down in the middle.
Matana, got it. The lecha, ba'al karkach, de'i amra lo be'ina lo penia. So
Right.
it's a gift. It's not against his will. That if you say he does not, what's be'ina?
I don't want it.
Oh, if he says I don't want it, then he doesn't acquire it.
Yeah.
That was exactly your point, Rabbi.
Yeah, that's the difference now between matana and get. Get, it's going to be effective even though she doesn't want it. But matana, it will not be effective if the recipient says, I don't want it.
Right.
And so that's the basis of the Kal V'chomer. And then he goes on, lo kol shekain. That's, do we have time for the lo kol shekain? No, it's time. Okay, so we'll do the lo kol shekain tomorrow. Remember where we're holding.
Okay, thank you, Rabbi.
All the best to everybody. Have a great day.
You too.
Okay, have a good day. Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, Lou. Bye, Phil. Bye, Alan.